This is part one of a two-part video on investing for retirement. In this video, I'm going to give a high-level overview of the 3 steps to developing a retirement plan and help you to define and quantify what exactly it means to be retired. Hey everyone, this is Michael Tortorich and thanks for tuning in. Just a quick note on the video before we get started. These videos are designed to complement my book, Running the Numbers, a step-by-step guide to life's major financial decisions. Each video corresponds to a chapter or section in the book, and the idea is to review the chapters and use these videos as a platform to add some additional color around the examples where it just really wasn't practical to do in the book. So to check out the book or additional videos, please visit my website at michaeltortorichfinance.com, and there's also a link to the website and the book in the description below. So retirement is a goal I think all of us hope to achieve someday. But for a lot of people, and especially for younger folks, retirement is just so far in the future that we often don't think about it much. And while that's totally understandable, the reality is that the earlier you define what retirement means for you and start to put together some actionable steps to achieve that goal, the more flexibility you're going to have in getting there. And while I can't tell you exactly what to invest in or how much to invest, what I can do is help you to think through the process in an organized and logical manner. And so what I want to do in this video is first give a high-level overview of the 3 steps you're going to need to go through to create a realistic retirement plan. And then I'm going to deep dive into the first step, which is defining your retirement goal. So often when people get serious about retirement, they run into a problem. They want to save or invest some money, but they don't know what the heck to invest in. You've got bonds, stocks, real estate, gold, crypto, the list goes on. And locking down exactly what to invest in should actually be the last step in the process. The thing you actually need to do first, and this is step 1, is just define your retirement goals. And there are 3 parts to this step. The first is you need to define what you hope to achieve. Some common examples include generating a certain amount of passive income in retirement to maintain your current standard of living, or it could be paying for your child's education, the purchase of a vacation home, a certain donation to charity, the list goes on. The next thing you need to do is quantify your goals. And this really acts as a sanity check against what you would like to do and what you can realistically achieve or afford. And the last part of step 1 is to prioritize your goals. Once you know what you want to achieve and how much it's going to cost, you can then work to prioritize that list. So once you've defined, quantified, and prioritized your goals, you can now move on to step 2, which is understanding your investor type. And this is just such a key step because you have to understand what type of investor you are. So for example, are you very cautious and risk averse? Are you risk seeking? Are you somewhere in between? Because if you don't take that into consideration, you won't be able to develop a plan that you can stick to. And defining yourself as an investor really boils down to understanding how are you going to react emotionally when the value of your investments goes up or down. And remember, emotions are not your friend when making a financial decision because you need to think rationally. And if you take your emotions into consideration when developing your plan, you can work to mitigate them, and then it's much more likely that you'll be able to stick to your plan and achieve your goals. So how do you understand your investor type? Well, there are really 2 questions that you need to answer. The first is, how do you perceive risk? Do you get excited when there's a lot of risk? Then if so, you probably have a more risk-seeking personality, and a high-risk, high-return investment could be just right for you. But if the thought of losing money makes you sick to your stomach, then you have a more risk-averse personality, and you likely won't do well in a high-risk, high-return investment. The other question you need to ask yourself is, what is your ability to bear risk? In other words, can you afford to lose money? If you have $50 million to invest and you put $50,000 in a high-risk, high-return investment, then the likelihood of you not being able to meet your basic financial needs if the investment goes to zero, it's pretty low. So your ability to bear risk is high. But if you only have $100,000 to invest and you lose $50,000, that's a huge blow to your net worth, which you might not be able to recover from. So even if your willingness to bear risk is high, if your ability to bear risk is low, then a high risk, high return investment is likely not going to be the best option for you. So once you've defined your goals and understand your investment type, you're ready for the last step, which is to seek help from a professional financial advisor. And the financial advisor will, based on the goals and the risk profile that you provide them, help you to sift through all the available investment options and find the ones that are a best fit for you and that can best help you to achieve your goals. So next, what I want to do is dive into each of the 3 steps, and to do this, I'm going to walk through a hypothetical example of a middle-aged married couple that's just starting to plan for retirement. And the first thing we need to do is give some background on the couple. So let's take a look at that. Jason is a computer programmer and Sarah is a school teacher. They're both 45 years old, have a combined income of $150,000 per year. They have $75,000 of cash savings. They have 1 child who plans to start college in 5 years. They plan to retire at 60 or in 15 years, have a primary residence and 2 rental properties, which will all be paid off on their 60th birthday. And at that point, the rental properties will also each generate $1,500 per month of pre-tax income. And in retirement, we're going to assume they have no other sources of income other than their rental properties and then whatever they can generate from their investments. And the other thing I want to note is, if you're wondering where I got the $150K per year of income from, refer back to the section on choosing a profession in Chapter 5, where you can see the median salary of a computer programmer and a school teacher is about $150,000 per year. So let's assume Jason and Sarah have just completed the first and third parts of Step 1, where they've defined and prioritized their goals as follows. Their primary goal is defined as having enough passive income to maintain their current standard of living through retirement. And their secondary goal is to fund their daughter's college education. So they've defined and prioritized, and now they need to quantify their goals. And as Jason and Sarah's primary goal is to have enough passive income in retirement so that they can maintain their current standard of living, let's focus on quantifying that objective first. And to quantify how much money they'll need in the future, we first need to calculate their current expenses, amend that for any changes that are going to happen in retirement, and then adjust that amount for inflation. So let's actually jump to Excel and take a look at how to do this. So here you can see we're on the Retirement Income Estimator tab, and this spreadsheet can be found on my website, michaeltodorichfinance.com. And starting on the left, the leftmost box shows their current monthly after-tax income of $10,000, their monthly expenses, which include a mortgage payment, property taxes, food, car insurance, etc., of $7,500, which leaves a monthly disposable income of $2,500. The middle box shows their estimated retirement expenses in today's dollars of $4,650 per month. And you'll notice their retirement expenses are less than their current expenses, as their house is going to be paid off, in other words, no mortgage, and their daughter will hopefully be supporting herself, so the food expense is reduced and the extracurricular activities go away. Lastly, the box on the far right shows their estimated retirement expenses 15 years from now of $7,245. And to get the retirement expenses in future dollars, what we have to do is inflate the retirement expenses in today's dollars at 3% per year for 15 years. And you can see the formula here. It's taking the retirement expenses in column G and multiplying it by 1 plus the inflation rate to the 15th power. And the reason we use the 15th power is because we want to know how much these expenses are going to cost 15 years in the future. And if you need a review on these calculations, you can see the link above to the video on Chapter 4, where I review the future value calculations in much more detail. Now, the last thing we have to do is gross up their future monthly expenses for taxes. And the reason we need to adjust their expenses for taxes is because these expenses are paid with after-tax dollars. And the tax rate in retirement is actually going to be 15% versus 20% for their current tax rate. And the reason for this is because their income is going to be lower in retirement, which is going to put them in a lower tax bracket. So we divide the future expenses of $7,245 by 1 minus the tax rate of 15%, and that gives us a pre-tax retirement income need of $8,523 per month. And if we look at that on a yearly basis, they're going to need $102,276 per year to maintain their current standard of living. Next, we need to account for the two rental properties, which, if you remember from the background section, they're both going to be paid off at retirement, and they're each going to generate $1,500 a month of pre-tax income. So that's $3,000 per month for 12 months, which is $36,000 a year, and then we're going to deduct that rental income of $36,000 from the yearly income need of $102,276, and this brings down the amount they need to generate from their retirement portfolio to $66,276. So just to summarize, we've completed step 1, where we identified the couple's primary goal, which is generating enough passive income to maintain their current standard of living through retirement, and we quantified that goal as having a portfolio that will generate approximately $66,000 a year of income. And so that takes us to the end of part 1 of investing for retirement. And in part 2, I'll continue with this example and dive deeper into identifying their investor type. We'll also take a look at some of the common investments and the potential range of returns depending on different levels of risk preference. I'll then show you how to put all that together to do a sensibility check on how the goals have been prioritized and the achievability of those goals. And then lastly, I'll give an overview of what to expect when seeking help from an investment professional. And to check out part 2 of the video, you can click on the thumbnail to the left, or for other videos or additional information about myself or the book, please see the links in the description below or check out my website at michaeltodorichfinance.com. Thanks for watching.